I decided to do something a bit radical, you know. For one whole week I thought, let's ditch the usual tools. Yes, all of them. My trusted apps, my old ways of working, everything. Instead I would rely only on artificial intelligence. The mission was clear, to see if AI could truly run my daily life. From the moment I woke up to when I called it a day. It was an exciting prospect, a dive into the future right here in the present. I wanted to understand its real power, beyond the usual talk and headlines. This was about putting AI to the proper test, a real-world challenge for these clever algorithms. My days are usually quite packed, as you can imagine. Lots of meetings, endless emails, new ideas popping up, and of course making big things happen. So, handing over the reins to AI felt like a bold move. I was replacing my calendar app, my email client, my coding assistants, even my creative tools. It was a complete system overhaul, you could say. The goal was not just to see if AI could do these tasks. The bigger question was, could it do them better? Or would it just create more chaos? More work for me in the long run? I was ready for anything, to be honest. Setting things up was the first step. I identified the key AI tools I would lean on for this experiment. ChatGPT was my first pick for planning and general queries. For the more complex coding tasks, I looked towards newer systems like Devon and of course, GitHub Copilot, which many are already familiar with. Then for content, things like Canva's AI features and Runway ML seemed promising. There were no major hiccups in getting started, just the usual learning curve with any new tech. I was keen to see how these different AI systems would work together, or if they would operate in their own little silos. My expectations were, let's say, cautiously optimistic. I believe in the potential of AI, massively so. But I also know that we are still in the early days for many applications. So I wasn't expecting perfection, I was looking for signs of genuine intelligence, signs of real assistance. Would AI make me super productive? Or would I spend half my time correcting its mistakes? This week was going to be a journey of discovery, a personal deep dive into what it means to live side by side with artificial intelligence, not just as a concept, but as a daily reality for every single task. The first big test for my AI assistant was planning. I threw my entire chaotic schedule at ChatGPT, organize my week, I told it, factor in meetings across 3 time zones, development sprints, and even some time for, well, thinking. The initial output was surprisingly good. It laid out a fairly logical schedule. It understood priorities to a certain extent. Of course, it wasn't perfect straight away. I had to give it a few more prompts, refine some of the timings and add specific constraints. But the iterative process was quite fast, much faster than me manually shifting blocks of time around in a traditional calendar, I must admit. Using ChatGPT for detailed scheduling was an interesting experience. I asked it to find a 2-hour slot for an urgent brainstorming session, considering the availability of 5 key people. This is usually a headache, sending multiple messages back and forth. ChatGPT crunched the data I fed it and proposed a few options. It wasn't magic. It simply processed the constraints I provided. Sometimes, its understanding of urgent or flexible needed a bit of human guidance. It didn't quite grasp the nuances of human interaction or the unspoken preferences people have. But as a tool for brute force scheduling, it definitely saved me some valuable time and mental energy. Then came the email monster. We all fight this beast daily, don't we? I tasked AI with helping me write emails and, more importantly, sort the never-ending flood in my inbox. For writing, it was quite helpful for drafting standard replies or composing formal announcements. I would give it the key points, the desired tone, formal, friendly, urgent, and it would churn out a decent first draft. I still had to review and tweak it, naturally. It couldn't fully replicate my personal style or the subtle context I might want to convey in certain communications. But it cut down the initial drafting time significantly, which was a clear win. Sorting emails was another area where AI showed its potential. I set up filters and rules using AI tools, instructing them to categorize incoming mail based on sender, keywords, and urgency. It did a fair job of decluttering my primary inbox. Important messages were mostly flagged correctly. However, there were a few instances where a crucial email was relegated to a less important folder, or spam somehow made it through. So 100% trust wasn't there yet. I still found myself doing a quick scan of all folders, just in case. It's a good assistant, but not yet a replacement for that final human check, especially for critical communications. With planning and emails somewhat under AI's control, it was time to push things further. I wanted to see how AI would fare with more complex creative tasks like coding and content generation. I had an app idea, something I'd been mulling over. I decided to use AI, specifically tools like Devin and GitHub Copilot, to help bring a basic version of this app to life. This was the real test, I felt. Could AI actually write functional code, understand complex logic, and help build something tangible from scratch? The ambition was high, and I was eager to see what these digital partners could truly deliver. My experience with Devin was quite eye-opening. I described the app's core functionality, the user interface I envisioned, and the basic features I wanted. Devin started to generate code, set up project structures, and even attempted to debug issues. It was like having a very fast, albeit sometimes literal-minded junior developer. GitHub Copilot, integrated into my coding environment, provided real-time suggestions, completed lines of code, and even wrote entire functions based on comments. It significantly sped up the repetitive parts of coding, allowing me to focus more on the overall architecture and logic. It wasn't flawless, but the collaboration felt quite powerful. Beyond coding, I explored AI's capabilities in content creation. For presentations and visual assets, I turned to AI tools integrated within Canva. I could describe the kind of image I needed and it would generate options. For video snippets, Runway ML offered some fascinating features, transforming simple text prompts into short video clips or applying complex effects. This was particularly useful for creating quick visualizations or social media content. The quality was improving rapidly, and the ease of use meant I could produce decent-looking content without needing deep expertise in design software, saving a lot of time and effort for my team. The successes in both coding and content creation were quite evident. The development of the app prototype was definitely accelerated. Tasks that would have taken many more man-hours were completed much faster. The AI tools handled a lot of the groundwork, the boilerplate code, the initial design drafts. There were definite wow moments, especially when Copilot suggested a perfectly crafted complex function, or when Canva's AI generated an image that was remarkably close to what I had in mind. It felt less like using a tool, and more like collaborating with a very efficient, tireless assistant that was learning and improving constantly. Of course, the week wasn't all smooth sailing. There were plenty of challenges and glitches along the way. Sometimes the AI misunderstood my instructions completely, leading to some rather amusing or frustrating outcomes. For instance, when asking ChatGPT to schedule a quick catch-up, it once booked a formal 2-hour meeting. Explaining nuanced human concepts like quick or informal to a machine still requires a specific way of phrasing things. The AI, for all its power, lacked common sense at times, which is perhaps not so common after all, even for humans sometimes. These moments reminded me that we are still dealing with tools, albeit very advanced ones. There were also technical hiccups. An AI coding assistant might get stuck in a loop, generating nonsensical code. Or an AI email sorter might suddenly decide a critical client update is spam. Debugging AI-generated code could sometimes be more time-consuming than writing it myself, especially if the AI had gone down a completely wrong path based on a misinterpretation of my requirements. These glitches were not showstoppers, but they did require patience and a willingness to intervene and correct the AI's course. It highlighted the need for human oversight, for that guiding hand to ensure the AI stays on track and delivers genuinely useful results. Despite these challenges, the overall impact on my productivity was largely positive. Tasks that were repetitive and time-consuming, like drafting standard emails or writing boilerplate code, were significantly sped up. This freed up my mental bandwidth to focus on higher-level strategy, problem-solving, and creative thinking, the things humans, for now, do best. My personal life also saw some benefits. For instance, planning personal appointments or getting quick summaries of long documents became easier. The AI wasn't a magic wand, but it was a powerful lever, multiplying my efforts in many areas of my daily routine. So, is AI a replacement for humans, or merely an enhancement? Based on my week-long immersion, I'd say it's very firmly an enhancement, a powerful one at that. It's like an incredibly smart intern. It can do a lot, learn fast, and boost productivity immensely. But it still needs direction, guidance, and critical oversight from an experienced hand. AI is a game changer, no doubt about it. It's changing how we work, how we create, and how we live. But it's a tool, a co-pilot, not the pilot itself. The future is about human-AI collaboration, augmenting our capabilities to achieve things we couldn't before. The journey has just begun.